Hey everybody, it's Randy, your host for Building Wins Live. And it's Tuesday, which means we got another one, high noon, baby. So today we've got a couple of amazing guests, people that, two ladies that I've known for, I think we decided about 20 years now, from the construction industry. And we've worked together closely at a lot of different shows. And you're really going to enjoy this conversation about the trade show and the trade association, more or less, industry. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Megan and Valerie, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good to see you. Thank you for taking some time today to be on and chat with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think I got that right. We've, not to date ourselves, is I tend to gray my hair just so I look smarter and older. But I think we decided it was about 20 years. Right? Exactly. I like it. It looks good on you. You know, I think we've known each other and wandered around this incredibly fun industry for a long time together now. And, you know, and probably the very first interesting thing is I chatted with you ladies pre-show that I didn't know until we got involved with this, that you guys are sisters. I thought that was kind of interesting. I've known you both for years, and until about three months ago, Megan said, "What about my sister Val being on too?" I said, "Valerie Pope?" She says, "Yeah." Oh, did not know that. So learned something new. So before we get started in all this, whoever wants to start first, give us a little bit of the Megan and Valerie show. Who is Megan and who is Valerie? What do you guys do besides run trade associations? Who wants to start?
Go ahead, Meg.
Well, I live in Ohio. We both lived in Ohio, all of our lives. I'm out in the Dayton area. I've got a daughter, and she's 15 now. So for those of you that have seen her through the years, she's tall and old and wily, but so she's great, and just enjoy being outdoors, being with family, being with friends, as much as possible, especially this past year. But yeah, that's about it. And keeping up with my sister.
Well, that's a challenge. So tell me about that. Tell me about that sister, Valerie. How's that work for you?
It's super fun to be Megan's sister, but always an adventure. I live over in Columbus, Ohio, so it's nice. Our main office is in Dayton. We also have a little office in Cincinnati, but it's I think keeps the peace in the family. Maybe to not be right up on top of each other, but close enough we can still visit. I have a son. I'm married, and I have a son that is 17, and a daughter who's 15. See, I can't even keep up with them anymore. And my son, his very first outing when he was first born, in fact, I was still on maternity leave, was the Ohio Roofing Contractors Association convention at the Columbus Convention Center. And it was the year we were giving away a Harley. And we have pictures of him kind of propped up on the Harley. And so when the guys hear, that he's 17, they're like, "No way is that baby 17." And I'm like, "Yes, he is." And you mentioned that we're third generation, but it's strange. My husband managed the mechanical contractors in Chicago for a million years and has been in the association industry his whole career as well. And so when we get together, I always feel bad for my mom because we've, my husband and my dad and Meg and I, all we want to talk about it is association stuff. And she's kind of stuck listening to it over and over. And of course, her father was an association manager too. So she's grown up in the industry. Wow. It isn't like she isn't or been around, but it is certainly our family business and our vocation, in a way that it's not just a job.
Well, and so that makes it not a job, right? Because you do something you love and it's a passion as opposed to work, right? So it's like I like to talk about sometimes. If you love what you do, you work a lot, but you don't really work at all, right? And sounds like that's awesome. So Megan, you're the executive director of the National Frame Builders Association, or the NFBA, and I wrote this down, and also of the Buckeye Frame Builders Association, the BFBA. Correct? Did I get that right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you also work very closely with with Merck MRCA, correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All three of those. And the Buckeye Frame Building Association, of course, we had that earliest on. I think we started with them in 1998. And Randy, that's how we all met, was that first group.
Right.
And then, you know, our team's been with NFBA for going on a couple years now. And been with the Midwest Frame Association since 2015. So it's been great to add these bigger groups. I love working with all of them. I love NFBA, and BFBA has always been one of my favorites. So
Yeah.
yeah,
A good bunch of guys.
been
Good
doing it
bunch of guys.
for a while. Oh yes,
So,
yeah.
And so Valerie, you take care of more of the HR and the financial end of some things, trusts, and a lot of those things involved with the organizations. Is that correct?
It is. We have about 10 associations that are tied to a union collective bargaining agreement. So they would be the employers of the union members. And so we help negotiate those contracts. We administer the contracts, any kind of grievance procedure. But then we also sit on their trust funds. They're jointly administered health funds, pension funds that are for the members of those unions, and the apprenticeship programs. And we sit on those apprenticeship boards as well. So it's a very specific kind of niche part of the industry, but a lot of the same issues that those union contractors deal with, everybody is dealing with across the country. A lot of the same business management issues, and so it's a nice fit. But that is a very specific thing that my dad, Bob Pope, and I do. That there aren't very many of us across the country that still do that work anymore.
Perfect. So being a family business, obviously there's you two. Now your dad, and so your dad, Bob, who I've met numerous times in the past, he's the executive director of the MRCA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
and works closely with you guys, I assume, on the other, even though Megan, as the big shot executive director, probably he works for you, I would assume. But so where are we at this year? I lost touch with this whole COVID thing, but where are we at this year? NFBA? Where back
NFBA is going to be in Nashville, Tennessee, coming up. Yep, in January of 2022. Yes, one of
Perfect.
NFBA's favorite cities to gather together in and see each other. So yeah.
So when you guys get to town, does your dad just carry the boxes in and stuff? I mean, is that how that works now that you're in charge?
He really does, but I mean, he always has. You can't stop him, even if you try. Exactly. Yeah, no, Dad's always been very hands-on with every aspect of the association management. He doesn't like titles. He doesn't like, the opinion, hey, I'm the boss, so I don't have to do that. He is the exact opposite of that. So, yes, he's a good man to work for.
Exactly. So maybe talk for a minute, because I think I would really like to hear your take on trade associations and the value that they bring, right? Because I know that being involved with several that you guys are involved with, they bring tremendous value to everybody in the industry, whether you're a supplier, whether you're a contractor, whether you're a rep, as I am, whatever the case may be. But from your take, I guess this is your commercial time, right? If I'm not involved, if I'm a listener going, I've never been involved with BFBA, for example, or never been involved with MRCA or NFBA, why should I do that?
I think it's a difficult concept, especially for people who are new to a company, to understand what associations do or what their membership means for them. So, the value of the associations is, one, you really have to understand what benefits they're offering you. Two, you have to use them. And I mean, one phone call, is a huge discovery process, I think, for a member, because not only will we help you with X, but also Y and Z. We're here to help you with your business, however you need help, to the best that we can. And if it's not something we do, or we don't have the answer, we know where to find that answer. And so we'll do that legwork for you. But, most of our benefits are focused on keeping our members safe, compliant with different regulations, saving them money, protecting them. So, yeah, that's a huge part of it. And then, Val, I'm sure you have other parts to speak to, but as long as you include the, networking face-to-face part.
That was what I was going to say.
Okay.
Yes.
He knows me very well, because I think that's the single greatest thing that people don't understand about associations and can't experience until they actually go to an event or participate in a virtual event, or it's the conversations that happen in the hallways. It's the conversations that happen off to the side, that happen on the trade show floor, that happen sometimes maybe at the restaurant afterwards or whatever. But those things and that interaction, and to get to be, especially in groups like BFBA and NFBA and MRCA, where they're outside of your immediate geographic area. So these are people that, understand your problems and your challenges in a way that most people never will. But they're not from your backyard. They're most likely not your competitor, they're a direct competitor, but they're dealing with the same things. And that information exchange and that camaraderie and those relationships that are built are really, you can't put a price on that. And we can put a price on return on investment for every member benefit that we do. And your investment far outweighs, or like the opposite, your benefits far outweigh what your financial investment is, but you just can't quantify the very best part about being a member of an associate, and you have to be an active member, unfortunately, but an active member of the association, because you really get out of it what you put into it, and so you don't put in very much, you probably won't get very much out. But if you put in a lot, you're going to get that back in spades.
Right. So something I like to talk about a lot, but excuse me, is engagement, right? You talk about being engaged. If you're engaged in the association that you're involved with, at trade shows, at meetings, at whatever. But I think it was very well said, Valerie, is that if you don't do that, if you just show up and head to the bar and don't talk to anybody, you could have did that at home, right? I mean, you're not taking full use of this. And I think you hit on something that I've always talked about with trade shows, is I've always found as a rep with trade shows, that's a reason to be there with a group of friends and people in the industry to work with people on a regular basis, to network. The show floor hours, my booth space time, which is very little because I troll all the time. You'd never find me anywhere. But that's because, and I think what that leads into what you, or backs up what you just said, you got to make use of that time, right? You gotta go find that little backroom conversation, the guy in the hall you just walked by and saw, the guy you looked over and saw having a snack, so you walk over and say, hey, that's where the benefits come, right? And something you don't get to do if you're not involved with the association, because you'd never be together in one venue. At least that's
you
my
don't
take.
find them in your local neighborhood park, like, hey, I'm a frame builder.
Right.
Started to find each other.
Right.
So NFBA, we're going to be in Nashville. Probably my favorite town for NFBAs. I love them. Are we back at the Opryland again or downtown? I forget.
We are at the Opryland. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
We're going to be there. We've got great space. Super excited about it because we're going to have a slightly larger trade show floor than we thought we were going to have in the first place, or that we've had previously, which is great because, the enthusiasm from the exhibitors is definitely there. Like, I know the attendees will be anxious to get out too, but everybody, is in the mood to get out there, exhibit, see their customers, make new friends, hang out with everybody. I think it's going to be a really fun show. So.
And that's, give me the dates again, because I think we'll have Wes pop that up on the screen in a minute. What's January?
Yeah,
2, 3, 4?
January. Let's see, I wrote it down.
I should have had that, but when I told you that I shoot from the hip,
That's okay. It is the 18th through the 20th of January.
That's what I just said, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Okay.
Anyway, January 18th through the 20th in Nashville at the Opryland. So that's going to be fun time. I'm looking forward to that. So that brings me backwards now to a little bit of what we went through this past 14, 15 months, right? Obviously, the whole, we can call it what you want. Different people have different words, but we'll call it COVID, lockdown, shutdown, whatever you want to call it. A lot of effect on what you guys do, right? How did you guys deal with that? What did you find? Because I always find it interesting that and Wes and I talk about this a lot. We try to bring this up with every guest because I think it's interesting as we take what we learned from it, right? And how are we adapting it as we go forward, even as we go back to some semblance of an old way of doing things. I still think 100% old way, probably some of the things we've learned are not all bad either, right? I mean, we've learned to do some things differently that maybe serve us well. My take.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what you guys take from your positions and what you guys do.
Yeah, I agree definitely, Randy. There are some things that have come out of this that, you know, we will probably keep in place from now on. But, you know, we were just talking about how much the in-person interaction, you know, and that networking component is so important. So when we had to let that go, you know, it was sad, first of all. It was crazy to try to get things rearranged and contracts renegotiated. And you know, when we first started realizing that was happening, you know, we thought, well, you know, maybe we're not going to be as busy. Well, it turned out that we were busier, you know, there in the beginning because it just shifted gears to a different purpose. And that purpose ended up being, you know, getting the latest information out to the members about, you know, what were the regulations now, especially at their places of employment, and what did they need to do for their workers? What did they need to watch out for? To stay compliant, plus all the financial side of everything. And I mean, you know, Val worked really hard on a lot of this. We all did, but she quarterbacked a lot of the e-bulletins and webinars and all of this. And I don't know, Val, you did quite a few.
We have a kind of a half joke in our office. What is government affairs? And it has a very broad, because no one else in the office does it but me, it has a very broad definition especially when it comes to Dad. And this was one of them, where I learned more and read more and, you know, had to produce more content in, you know, 3 weeks, 3 months, you know, than what we're used to putting out. And just the sheer volume of educational seminars that we needed to put out, because not so much in post frame or in roofing, but we also handle mechanical, electrical, HVAC contractors. They still have, continuing education for their licenses. So we had to totally pivot and hurry up. And we were used to, you know, we do a day-long thing and they get all 8 hours in one day, or we do a convention, or we do a conference, right? Well, now we're doing those, you know, and you know, from doing this show, how much work it is to gather up a guest, to prepare, you know, whatever. We're now doing that multiple times a month. You know, it's just a whole different muscle. But I think everybody is really enjoying, especially, you know, for the education, maybe not having to do so much travel. For the committee meetings, certainly we're seeing that. And for our local associations, we're really seeing that. And so I think the challenge for us, our next goal and what we're already tackling, is how to do a hybrid. I love your Randy 2.5 hybrid, amazing. Because that's what we're turning into. That's what we're all turning into. So if the old way was 1.0 and the COVID way was 2.0, we're going to have to figure out 2.5, which is hybrid. And we're already adopting new technology so that we can have an in-person meeting and then broadcast that out so that the people virtually are having maybe not as good of an experience, but a good experience, and the people who are live are having a good experience. And cracking that code for that technology is what we're working on right now, to make sure that as we go, members have the flexibility to do both, because a lot of people are seeing that they really like the convenience of not traveling.
Right. Megan, you want to add anything to that? This is a topic that I have, it's pretty near and dear to my heart, as they say, is the whole hybrid, you know, aspect of things. Anything to add to that, Megan? Because I'm really interested in your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I like the possibility that, you know, this type of hybrid will let more types of people participate. And, you know, I think about younger association members, especially, like they don't have the time off to go to the big events. They don't have the money to travel the big events because it's on your own dime, you know, or something like that. But at least they can, you know, kind of test it out by doing the virtual version and seeing, okay, what is it all about? And then, kind of making some friends that way and getting into it, because it can be intimidating to walk into your first convention, and you just joined the company a year or two ago and you don't know what to expect. And all you've heard is these crazy stories about getting lost, somewhere not at the convention center, at a bar. So, I think it's going to help different people get into it in a little bit of different way. But I do like the time that can be saved and the money that can be saved with the digital linking up of everybody. But like Val said, it's got to be a hybrid, because it's driving some of us crazy not being face to face. So we got to find that happy medium. But yeah,
exactly. Well, yeah, it's interesting because I just was doing something that was a little unique again just this week, which was, I was double checking myself on my apps for Delta, because I hadn't done it for so long. I did, making sure my TSA number in there. I mean, I could, but it was so exciting to be doing it, because it's exciting to get back out face to face and be with people. But equally, like you both said with the hybrid, I think we've learned so much that we can augment the old way, and that's what I look at it as, is an augmentation, right? And what you said, both of you said, I think, with new members, with small members that maybe can't afford the cost of taking 8, 10, 12 people, and that's not cheap, right?
Right.
Maybe they can get a flavor for, and I guess that would lead me to a question, and if you don't want to talk about this, that's fine, but is there going to be some maybe more virtual from the show this year, and next year technically, but this year and going forward, to where people that can't make the show can catch snippets, if you will, or sound bites, or get a flavor for? Is that something in the works, or not really? Because I know that there's always a tendency to, if you give somebody too much when you have a show, you need them to come to the show, right? It's a business. I mean, there's a purpose for the show, right? So I'm just curious if there's any thought into that at all. Maybe that's not a fair question. But.
No, we're so excited about doing it in person and live that's been the bulk of the conversation amongst staff. I'm sure we will have an enhanced virtual presence, but we never got into the whole, entirely virtual event thing anyway, because we just knew we couldn't replicate it. So,
right.
And it's a good thing for some venues, but I'm sure we'll have a little more, but you're not going to be able to attend every educational session available virtually. We're not going to have that, but yeah.
So you got to come to the show.
Right.
That's the message. Get
to
Nashville.
It's what you said is right. Is it has to be a balance, because it can be an effective teaser. And even before COVID, we had talked about taking and broadcasting certain elements of the convention to, to tease people into it, and to get them, maybe over that hump of being hesitant to make the investment or whatever, to give them a taste of what they would buy. And so I think that is really the way to use it, right?
Yeah. And that made me think of one other thing that we are doing now, is making it more of a series of educational sessions on one topic, where it kind of culminates, the finale is at the show. You don't have to do both, or you can do both, but it's, what we have at the show is really a continuation on a large scale of what's been offered throughout the year. So
yeah, I like it. Well, I can speak to anybody listening now or on replays that the shows are first class, and you can tell you guys have been doing it a long time, and they're always very enjoyable. They're always so well put together, and they seem issue free. Now, I'm sure as you folks are running the show, they don't seem so issue free, right? Because you're dealing with all these things in the background that go, oh man, this just happened or that just happened. But the key is you address it without anybody knowing it. So I mean, compliments to you. The shows go off without a hitch, to the casual observer at least.
Yes, thank you. The members' experience and the attendees' experience is number one, always. So
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So, and we didn't touch while we're touching on the NFBA show. Do we have dates for a BFBA show yet?
We are going to be in March this year for BFBA, and we are going to be in Millersburg, Ohio. And the dates, I am having trouble thinking right now, but I think it's the
That's
second
okay.
week of March. And we kind of had to do a little flip flop there. Put since NFBA was falling in January, the Buckeye chapter is going to fall into March. So
Right.
yeah, but
Perfect.
that should be a fun show too. New venue. So even those that have been out the past couple years, we've had some great shows, but this year we're going to be at a new place, and we should be having a pretty good time. So, and that's a 1-day show, so it's easy to get in, get out, and you don't have to stay overnight if you
Right.
don't want to.
So
Yeah.
dinner the night before at Bag Sports Bar in a corner downtown, right?
I need to figure that out. Yeah.
I'll just highly
telling
recommend that. I'm just highly
Okay.
recommending it.
All right, good.
Great.
We can make that happen.
Work
That
that
is
out.
one of the very fun parts is that dinner the night before. So
Yeah, that's it. And I may wander in every night. I stay in Millersburg for dinner at Bags, so that's why I know it. But well, awesome. Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got those dates. And then we might as well, while we're talking dates, we might as well talk about the MRCA show too. How do those dates play out?
Yeah, so we are
Or month
November
if you don't have
10th.
the date.
November.
Yeah,
November
it's
10th.
November 10th through the 12th. Yeah, so we're 10th, 11th, 12th in November. It's going to be right on top of Veterans Day, but we are incorporating veterans into our conference in a big way. We're going to have a lot of fundraiser activities to support veterans causes. So that is a big part of the show. The other big part is we're giving away a Harley. So that's exciting.
And I think Valerie's son has already won. I think this thing is fixed. That's what I think, Valerie.
You just sat on it. You didn't win it.
There it is, the MRCA. So that's November. I can't see that quite. What city is that in?
Milwaukee.
It is going to be, yes.
Oh, Milwaukee. Okay, perfect. Beautiful. So some fun stuff.
It's an amazing city. I had not been to Milwaukee in a long time. And when I went for another conference, actually, with the mechanical contractors, and was blown away by how much renovation and revitalization they've done in the downtown area. The convention's right downtown. And boy, if you haven't been to Milwaukee in a while, it is definitely worth seeing.
Good. Well, I'll make sure I'm there. It's been years since I've been downtown in Milwaukee, but a good buddy of mine that popped on a minute ago, he from Zach Biggie from Milwaukee. He used to be a fellow rep in the industry, and he's went on to real estate fame and fortune. But he had mentioned he may come to Nashville just to hang out with some of his old buddies, which would be awesome. But he spent a lot of time in Milwaukee, and he's told me many times how beautiful the city is. I think he bought in one of the old neighborhoods that they're like revitalizing, and I think that's awesome. I love cities that like kind of don't tear down stuff and just revitalize the bottom 2 or 3 floors into some lofts and into restaurants and bars, and
They've done a beautiful job in Milwaukee with that. It is really gorgeous and made the most of being on right there on the water.
Good. So last thing, and then I know we're going to bring you ladies back for a few minutes of our added win segment in a few minutes. But before we get into that, because I do have a couple of things I want to maybe drill a little deeper in that recorded segment. But Wes, you met Wes pre-show, my producer director. He always has something he likes to call seldom asked or should have asked questions. You might call them there it is, should ask questions. Wes is quick. And so there's always the frequently asked questions, but what he likes to talk about is with all people and everything that we all do, there's always that question. So, and I didn't prepare you for this, and I should have, but that's okay. What's a should ask question that I should have asked about what you guys do that we didn't touch on? There's got to be. I'm sure there's something they go. Come on, Randy. We're running out of time. Why, well, you didn't ask me about this, and we can do that in the added wins. If you want to think about that in the next 3 minutes, we can do that and make your life easier. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I have one.
Yes.
What is it like working for your sister? Your baby
Wow,
sister. I mean, it's probably pretty evident. I'm the older sister, right? And so what is it like?
So am I supposed to ask you or her that? That's my question.
Yeah, you asked me.
Okay. Val, what's it like working for your younger sister?
It's terrible. Save me. This is a call for help.
That was cool.
There's an occasional projectiles, you know, there's a little bit of yelling. It's not that bad. No one gets that hurt.
I think the coolest part about working with your family is you have this inherent trust. And I think this is why so many of our member family businesses are successful and successful over the generations. Because when you have that trust, you can bounce crazy ideas off of each other. You can say anything. I don't know, in our family at least, there's not a filter. And sometimes having those frank conversations, having those free conversations where you're not worried about the politics of it, or you know, is this going to impact my review, or is this going to, you know, whatever, be seen as silly? When that's off the table, you can really get somewhere. And so it has been one of the most liberating things to be able to pick up the phone and call, you know, either my dad, who's my greatest mentor, at any hour of the day and night, or to call her. And or if you get in trouble with something and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in a pickle, I need you to do, I would ask her to do anything, any crazy thing. And she would say yes, and vice versa. And you know, most people just don't have that experience in their professional lives.
Yep. Perfect. Megan, anything to add to that?
No, that's best said. The only other thing is, if you have a dumb idea, they're not afraid to tell you that either, which is, it's good. It's its own good thing. So.
And let's be honest, Megan, you like ultimately being able to boss your older sister around just a little, right?
I mean, I try not to do it, but I do it.
Yeah.
See, I knew it. There you go. See, at least you was honest. Perfect. Fair enough. All right. So ladies, thank you very much. I appreciate, I've been looking forward to this chat for a long time, and I appreciate you being on. We're going to, I'll bump you on back to the green room here in a second, and we'll be back and do a few minutes of, I've got something down. Think over the next couple of minutes, anything else you might want to talk about, and we'll do a little recorded version after the show, and we'll put that out probably on Friday. Sounds good?
Great. Yep. Sounds great.
Awesome. All right. Valerie and Megan, thanks for being on. There you are, folks. Two high-powered ladies in the construction industry. And I knew it would be a good conversation. And I really, like I said, I've known these ladies for 20 years plus, and I really have enjoyed them personally and professionally. Had dinner many a night on our pre-show nights, and just really good people. So anyways, think about trade shows. Remember the NFBA show, the FBA show, and the MRCA show. Hopefully I'll see you at all of them. So for now, we're going to get on out of here. But remember, next week, 12 noon, we've got a gentleman, Lee Bauman. Lee is a capital provider at the Icon Business Advantage. What this really means that Lee's involved with financing and with money lending and all kinds of capital investment. He works with everywhere from small business to medium size. He might even do some larger business. We'll have to ask him, but he's basically a finance guy. And I've got to know Lee a little bit over the past 6 months. Great guy. You're going to love him. We're going to chat business finance a little bit next week. So that's 12 noon next week, Tuesday. So until then, remember this. You got to live it. You got to love it. You got to own it. Make this your best day ever. Until tomorrow. Cheers, y'all.